Michelle from Michelle Made This, and I'm really happy to be working with mywaist.ie. I'm going to share some really fun wedding DIY projects with you today. We're going to start with making a floral hanging wreath from a hula hoop. These are going to wow your guests at the wedding. Okay, let's get started. Ignore the camera here, that's just so we can get some close-ups of what I'm doing. So to make the floral wreath, you're going to need a hula hoop. You're going to need some greenery from the garden, or you can go foraging, some lace or ribbon to hang it, some battery operated fairy lights. You'll need a curtain ring to hang it, a scissors, a wire cutter and some fine wire. Let's get started. Okay, the first thing you're going to have to do is start adding your lace. So you're going to add it in 4 corners of the hula hoop. You want to measure 3 equal lengths of lace. The measurement is going to depend on how high or how low you want to hang your hula hoop from the ceiling. All you do is attach the lace to the hula hoop, and what I tend to do is just tie 1 knot to start with, and then we can work out if we need to cut it. The best thing is always cut it longer than you imagine. Once you've done that, you bring all 3 pieces together, and you want to make sure that where the lace is positioned, when you hold the wreath up, it's not actually tilting. So you just adjust the lace then until it's more even. I'm going to leave the tying of the top until we add the greenery. It just makes it easier. I'm using ivy, which is really good because it also dries really well and it'll last for a long time. So you just want to get your ivy and position it in place, and you're going to use little bits of wire to do this. I'm just going to cut this up. The finest wire you can get is the best. And remember, the hula hoop is going to be suspended from the ceiling, so you want your foliage to be underneath. Put this around the hula hoop and you twist the wire. You can use your cutters to tighten that, or if you have an additional pliers. It's a little bit fiddly to start with, but as you add the greenery, it will become more secure. You can also use eucalyptus if you're lucky to have that growing in your garden. There's a really nice scent off it as well, but any greenery will work for this. And you'll see my hula hoop is already one colour. A lot of hula hoops you'll get or you will have at home may be multicoloured, so obviously you can paint them, or what you can do is use brown tape to cover them, which also looks really effective. You continue going round and round the hoop and fill it up as much as possible, just repeating the same process. So you'll see I am leaving kind of longer lengths of wire, because what you'll find is I may hang that up and look at it and think that it needs more greenery, so it's handy to actually have the wire left long there. And try and alternate the ivy. Some is facing this way and some of it is facing that way. Makes it a bit bulkier as well. So kind of like when you're making a Christmas wreath, same thing. That's the great thing about these hula hoops. They can be used as a wreath to hang on the door or suspended from the ceiling. Multi-purpose. We like a bit of reusing. So each time you add a few, just lift it up and take a look as well. And it's nice to have these pieces that actually hang down as opposed to just flat, because again, remember, we're going to be hanging this from the ceiling and people are going to be looking from underneath. You can also do this if you've got dried flowers at home or artificial flowers. It works really well, not just for a wedding, for any party. What I should say as well when you're doing these is make sure that your wires are good and secure, because remember, it's going to be hanging from the ceiling and we don't want anything dropping on someone's plate. Likewise, if you're making this for inside the best thing to do is make it the day before and hang it outside somewhere in a shed if you can, just so if there's any creepy crawlies, they make their escape before it's inside. Once you decide on the length, curtain hook, and you want to thread your lace through the curtain hook, weave it in and out of the hook. You can trim it off. Make sure you don't cut the hanging ones. You're going to cut the excess lace. Tie the knot in that. No hanging floral display is complete without fairy lights. So get yourself a battery pack, and you want to weave the fairy lights in through the greenery. To be honest, I find this is easier to do when you've actually hung it, and obviously you're on the ladder and you can weave in the fairy lights, because at the end of the day you're going to be looking up at it, so you need to be able to see where the lights are going. And when you're attaching the battery pack, I always say attach it kind of like you're wrapping a present, because it's on the hula hoop. If you only do it like this, it's going to slip and slide. So you want to cross the wire over underneath. And now we're ready to hang it. And there you go, there's your floral hanging wreath. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to make your own confetti using dried flowers and book pages. It's really quick and easy to do. First of all, you're going to need some dried flowers. So here I've got some rose petals that I gathered during the summer, and I just dried them outside. If you don't have any, you can use fresh foliage or fresh leaves the same way. We're going to start using an old book and pages from the book to make the cone to hold the confetti. So all you want to do, just like you would have in school, is roll the page around to make a cone shape. And then I'm going to use some tape and I'm going to stick that in place. So I'm going to roll the book page around, just put a little bit of tape underneath, and then you're going to fill it with your dried foliage. This is a great little project to do with your hens on your hen night even, and you can do them weeks in advance and they're all ready for the big day. If you don't have any dried flowers, what you can do is use leaves, and what I've got here is a craft punch, which you can get in any craft store, and basically you just put the leaf through, just like a hole punch you'd have in the office. Push it through, press down, and there you have your natural confetti. So here I'm just using some ivy, which is readily available, and there you go. It's as simple as that. If you don't have, or if you do have some foliage and you're doing this in advance, you can do the same with dried leaves. It works the same way. Just push that through your hole punch, press the shapes, and off you go. Once you've cut all them out, you just want to gather them up, and when you're ready, you just make another paper cone like we did earlier and fill them up. And enjoy your day. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you is how to make these cute little place settings, and all you're going to need are some wine corks. You're going to need a scalpel, or you can use a sharp knife. You're going to need a pen. I've got a calligraphy pen here, and I'm using some luggage tags just because I have some, but you can of course cut any cards that you've got at home. So to start with, what you're going to do is use the scalpel. Please be very careful with this and take your time. Before you do it, just stand the cork up and make sure that it's not on the wobbly side. So you want to see that's slightly off. So once you're happy with the right side, you get your scalpel and you're just going to slice halfway through the top of it. And you want to go down sort of about 1 centimetre, maybe a little bit more. And again, be very, very careful with these knives. Once you've done that, you're ready to write your place card. I want to write that out in as pretty a font as you can do. And then you're just going to slide that into place through the cork like so. And that's it. All you've got to do then is organise your table plan and put them in place. Next, I'm going to show you how to make some bunting to decorate your wedding venue. Really easy to do, and you can use old net curtains or sheets that you've got at home. So it even covers something old. So you could use granny's curtains. So I've got some lace, some sheeting here, and what I've done is cut out a triangle flag shape using an old greeting card. Got needle and threads because we do have to stitch it together, and a fabric scissors. All we have to do is start cutting out our triangles. This is a great fun one to do in advance of the wedding on your hen weekend. So we just lay down the template and we start cutting. If you don't want to do it this way, you can use a piece of chalk to actually draw out the shape on the lace. So I've done so many of these, I find it easier this way. The thing with the lace is it doesn't have to be perfect, so don't be worrying too much about perfectly straight lines. So there's one, just another 500 to go. So we do our lace and then we do the fabric. So again, use old sheets, duvets, pillowcases, anything like that. And the same process, you want to lay down your template, and if you want, you can use a piece of chalk to mark it, or you can just hold that in place and cut. You do have to be a little bit more precise when you're cutting the fabric, but not too much. If you have a fancy zigzag scissors, otherwise known as a pinking shears, it's much better for this. There you go. We don't have to hem it or anything. You just have to keep on going until you have enough fabric, and then when you have, you literally want to start sewing it together. So you can use a piece of string, a piece of ribbon, and you just stitch all along the top until you have lots of bunting. Next, I'm going to show you how to make your own DIY wedding signs. All you need to make it is some wood from your palette. This one I've just painted with some tester pots, which I think most of us have. You're going to need string for hanging. You're going to need a paint pen to write the lettering, but it's not essential. You can do it just with pencil, or you can paint it with a really fine paintbrush. You're going to need a hard pencil, like a HB, and a soft pencil, so like 4HB, or I've got a charcoal one here. Scissors, and if you're going to be painting, you need your brush. And then you will need a drill to drill the holes in for where you're going to hang it. The one question that everybody asks is, how do I write it? I don't like my writing. I've got a really quick tip for you. If you go online and look for the sign that you want, so here I'm going to do the Mr. and Mrs. for the top table, print it out onto normal printing paper, but make sure it's the right size for your piece of wood. What you do then is turn it over, and I'm not sure if you can see it, but where you've actually got the font, you literally sort of want to colour it in reverse. So you're using the soft pencil for this. You're just lightly brushing over all the lines of the actual word. Trust me, this will make sense in a minute. So all the way around. Everyone is just going to be so amazed at your beautiful lettering skills. Okay, so it looks like that. You place that down on top of the wood, and this is where you get your hard pencil. And take your time doing this. You want to trace over the word. So remember, this is the right side, and you will see I am applying a little bit of pressure. Okay, and I can never wait. I have to just have a sneak peek. So you can see there that the word is coming out clearly. So then continue on, and you want to be as neat as possible. And for the thicker lines, you'll see I'm kind of scribbling over it just so I know when I lift the paper that they need to be filled. So always make sure you hold the piece of paper down when you're checking, because if it moves it's going to affect the font. So lift that up, and there you go, you've got your word traced out perfectly. Sometimes you can actually just fill this in with pencil and use that, but for it to last longer, I definitely recommend a paint pen, or as I said before, you can use a fine paintbrush and some black acrylic paint to paint this on. And then literally you're just going over the lines that you've traced out and colouring them in. Again, take your time. This is not the time to be answering your phone. And there we go. That's the font done. So next we want to drill 2 holes so that we can hang it up. So I'm going to use a couple of bits of wood here. You want to protect your work surface. Better still if you take it outside and do this on the grass. So I'm just going to drill it by eye, but if you want to be particular, you can measure it. Let's move them out of the way. Then we're ready to put in our string. We want to thread that through. It should go through easily, and I find if you twist it as you push it through, it makes it easier to go through. Same on this side. And then depending on where you're hanging it, you want to see how long you want it to be. And once you've decided on the length, you just tie a knot in the back. Trim that off. And there you go. You've got your signs, top table. Congratulations. So there you go, there's a few DIYs for your wedding day. Congratulations, have a great day, and check out mywaste.ie for some more reuse tips.